What's up, guys? This is Zeus at Atomic Maniac Productions, and we are going to 1994 today with the Trek 9500 OCLV suspension track. It's got STS, which is the suspension track system. So it's kind of hard to figure out if this is a 94 or a 95, but if you Google 1994 95 OCLV, you get a lot more of the green to purple frames popping up as far as people's pictures of them. And then if you Google 1995, you get a lot more of the black and it's purple to black. So it's kind of all I'm going on. But using Bikepedia and some of the catalogs, it seems to be a 1994. It matches up pretty well with the 94 specs. So this one, unfortunately, has been modified horribly, and so fortunately I was able to pick this up for $90. So literally, it's got like a baby scratch and a baby scratch, and then some significant scratches here. But really, there's like very light scratches. Decals are all there, including this front Trek logo that usually falls off on quite a few of these bikes, especially the later 90s ones are commonly missing. So let's get into it. The guy I bought it from, he bought it just because it had a Dior seat post. He took the Dior seat post and threw this seat on there. So as far as I know, that's all he did, and the pawn shop did everything else just to try and sell it. So we're going to go off that assumption. I don't want to attack the guy for doing that. He obviously knew what he was looking for. He really wanted that Dior seat post, so he got the bike, got the seat post he wanted, sold the bike. So don't blame him there. It's a super heavy bike. I think the original spec is going to be 25 pounds, but that's with quality components. And so right now, not a Walmart seat per se, but I think he said this is a Sun Tour seat post, and this is still a heavy seat, even though it's not necessarily a Walmart seat. But the rear rim is Walmart or low quality, and it would have been, the stock wheel is actually what it should be, and it's a Bontrager single track, and that should be in the rear as well, but it's not. It's some unbranded that somebody painted blue, and now the blue is coming off, and it's just a terrible rim. It's got this huge gaps on this 7-speed, and that's just ridiculously disgusting. It doesn't shift. That's as high as it shifts into third gear. Third gear. So we got STX on the rear derailleur, XT on the front, unbranded Walmart crankset, super rusty, disgusting chain, Schrader valves in the stems. Schrader valves, yeah. We do have the original Ricey, I want to say Ricey, air/oil shock, and it needed air, but I have since aired it up. Actually, I left my air shock outside. Air pump outside. I better get that. I aired it up, and it's holding. It is actually holding. And then the front fork is actually a Trek Mogul Extreme fork, and it's got these crazy, I'm assuming they probably would have been a little bit more translucent, like this up here. They've since yellowed out, being 31 years old. But it's still, and then this carbon fiber, exposed carbon fiber here is awesome. XT cantilever brakes. It is Sun Tour rim brakes back here. And then that's the original Trek system stem, Trek system handlebars, Trek bar ends, And then unfortunately we got some weirdness going on. We got a specialized 9-speed shifter going to the 3-speed Walmart crankset, and it does nothing. It you can go all the way from 1 all the way around to 9. It stays in that low. It does not go up at all. And then well, maybe that's why it won't go out of there, but and then this will go all the way up to 3 and not go anywhere else. And that's also that one is Suntour XC7. I'm branded here, Diacomp here. And definitely, I think what we're gonna do. Let's use a Trek System 3 bar ends. So get a plug, possibly a new plug there. We need plugs here. Other side needs plugs. It needs grips. So I'm not sure how I want to do it yet. Probably just gonna do grips. Plug. And obviously we're gonna do a new seat. We're gonna leave the stem and handlebars. The seat post is fine. It's got a giant seat post clamp. And this is kind of what I was talking about, of like attacking people for their bike work. Like if it's, something to get you home, that's okay, but that's disgusting. I mean, to me, this is a nightmare. I mean, we know how to fix it. It's all easy fixes. It's just swap the crank, get a better wheel, with a better cassette, replace the cable, find the actual drivetrain, the rest of the cockpit there, drivetrain to match there. It's all easy fixes. It's just currently it's disgusting. So at least in our mind, because if these at least work and it's like, okay, it's all you had laying around, you're just trying to, maybe you're not having trouble making ends meet, you need to get a bike to go to work, and this is all you got, all you can get your hands on, and then you jerry rig some stuff to actually get you working. Maybe that broke while you were riding, you fix it real quick, but brake cables, $3. $3 for that. And then if these went through all 7, because this is a 7-speed, if it went through all 7, it would definitely be a different story. I wouldn't be so critical. And if this actually worked, I don't know how, maybe 1 through 3 worked to replace that, or 3-speed was the first gear, and then 4 through 6 was the next, and then 7, 8, 9 was the last one. I don't know, but if it at least functioned, I wouldn't be so critical. It would be a completely different story. It's like, okay, you made it work, you were struggling, you couldn't afford a brake cable, I get it, but they threw that on there to sell the bike. They threw it because it was all they had. They were trying to get rid of the bike. They would have gotten somebody unsuspecting, something like that, or somebody just to flip this bike. A flipper did it. I mean, literally the guy, the one guy did buy it for the stem, but I can't say he did it, and it's more likely that the pawn shop did it, or the person did it to sell it to the pawn shop. So who knows? But luckily it's in good hands now, and it will get fixed up. And then I just rode it around, and it, even with the Walmart components and no functioning, it rides great. Which is kind of crazy to say. It actually rode kind of fun. I'm really excited to actually get it working, get it functioning, which is the main goal, and then it'll be functioning with quality components. It's not going to have XTR. It doesn't need XTR. Maybe it doesn't need XT, but it'll probably get, LX, or if you can find a really great deal on XT, it'll get XT. So that's all really it needs, or maybe keep the Suntour theme going, or Pro Max, or any okay 90s, little time, trying to get a little bit time period bike action going, but mostly just to get it functioning enough to ride. And then if we do end up hating it in the future, selling it to somebody, but they wouldn't be tricking them, they wouldn't be unsuspecting. It'd be a quality bike. It would get treated fairly and taken care of well. So that's really really what matters at the end of the day. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a really awesome bike, and the carbon's held up really, really well. There's nothing, any of these the bonds there held up really, really well. It's a great bike. Sorry to go on a little tirade about previous owners, but it's the second one this week. This one, and then the Klein Mantra was just, I mean, at least this one has a seat post clamp that actually fits, and the seat post actually is the right size, and it can actually clamp in there. The Mantra was duct taped, zip tied, shoved in there, duct taped outside, zip tied outside, and then pipe clamps around the whole thing. And you could do that, and the seat just fell immediately, and it's just getting them ready just to try and flip them, to trick somebody into buying them. So somebody that has no idea what they're doing, or then they buy the bike because they're trying to ride to work. So can't afford nothing else, and unfortunately that's the world we live in right now. So, but again, sorry for the tirade. If you have any questions, it's not for sale right now. However, these Walmart components are going to be very, very cheap, if not free, to hopefully donate them, to potentially donate the seat and the cranks and the whole rear wheel to one of the kid charities, to so kids can bike and whatnot. So maybe even some of those components. So, but anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about any of the components, like I said, most of it, except for those weird Walmart swaps and whatever's going on out there, most of the bike is stock. So the rim, the fork, handlebars, stem, bar ends, frame, the front derailleur for sure, the shock. I think the rear derailleur was supposed to be XT, but some of them might have came with STX. But anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video, which is actually going to be another 90s Trek bike. 2 90s Trek bikes. Yeah, the next 2 videos will both be 90s Trek bikes. And then potentially, I have another friend that has an aluminum one of these. His is completely stock. Potentially we'll do a bike walk around in there. If not, you'll see it in the mass bike collection update video that's coming out. You're going to see this one. You're going to see all our bikes. Two people's shared collection of bikes are going to be in one video. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned.